Hello, welcome back to Speaking Spurs and me, Kieran, talking all things Tottenham. And yes, it is me, just freshly shaven. Had to take the beard off because I'm performing in a show next week. Today we're going to be talking about the build-up to the massive game against West Ham this weekend. Pivotal in our season. We can leapfrog them and Manchester United on the level games, as I said. Arsenal, obviously things are still in their hands like they were in ours previous in the season, where I think if we'd have won all of our games in hand, we could have jumped into third place. But that's not the way it was meant to be. The ball is now in Arsenal's court, and they've already made their first slip up. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel to show your support. Make sure you hit a thumbs up if you enjoy the content, and leave your comments below about what you think is going to happen in this game and everything from now till the end of the season. But Antonio Conte has been speaking in the build-up to this game, and he explains why he believes improving Spurs can still pull off a top four finish. So, look, he says the hard work is paying off, and I think that's evident in our gameplay. We're definitely creating more chances in a season where it started dreadfully. We had games where we didn't even have a shot on target throughout the whole game, whereas now we're creating an abundance of chances. We've scored many goals, 5 against Everton, 4 against Leeds, 3 against Man City, 2 at Old Trafford. You know, the goals are coming. Unfortunately, against Manchester United, we did concede 3. We conceded 2 against City, but we are much better at the other end of the pitch now, and there's reasons behind that, which I'll talk about later. So, we are just 3 points off of 4th place now with 10 games to play. Conte explains how Spurs are stepping up on and off the pitch. And this game against West Ham is live on Sky Sports Premier League this Sunday from 4 p.m. with the kickoff at 4:30. That's how you can watch it. If not, I'm sure many of you will be posting in the comments the places where you will be watching it instead. And I'm not talking about the pub. You know what I'm talking about, the dodgy streams. It makes a difference to your mood, smiled Antonio Conte as he discussed the warm spring weather in North London. Sun is shining, a positive feel around Tottenham's training ground. A couple of days on from our midweek win at Brighton, which was a good win. We controlled the game even when Brighton had their good spells of play. You felt that we were very much still in control. And that's mainly down to the defensive display. I thought the centre-backs are very good, and Ben Davies we'll talk about. Might not be in this video. Might do one tomorrow if I get time to talk about him, but it's going to be a busy, hectic week for me. So that result boosted our top 4 chances, the win against Brighton, and continued that bizarre streak of alternating losses and wins over our past 8 games. So 10 matches left to play, including the showdown against fellow top 4 chasers, West Ham. Now is the time for us to find a little bit of consistency if we're to make a late dash for a Champions League qualifying spot in that top 4. So can they do it? Who knows? But Conte is confident. He said, in this moment now, I have great confidence. My feeling is good because I'm seeing great improvement. We are working very hard in these 5 months that he's been in charge so far. But now I'm starting to see great improvement of my team in many aspects, not only on the pitch, but also outside with the mentality. I think we're preparing to have another step, and it will be very important to finish the season in the best possible way to continue to give us the confidence and to continue to believe in the work we're doing. It's not only, it's not the only occasion during our conversation Conte references the amount of time that he's been in charge. He does it so often. He also says room for improvement all the time. He's repeatedly talked up the scale of the task that is at hand at Tottenham, saying how difficult it will be. He's talked about our past and where we were, where we are now, how far off we are. But he's basically insinuating the hours on the training ground since his arrival in November are beginning to pay off, and the culture he's trying to bring to the club is starting to take hold. He also feels the Spurs are now more complete with the arrival of the impact signings, Rodrigo Bentancur and Dejan Kulusevski. He said, I see improvement in many aspects. Technically, tactically, and now after 4 months and a half, the players are understanding very well what I want with the ball and without the ball. We are having a bit more time to work on specific situations on the pitch. We're having a bit more time to work about the mentality, and it happens especially after a defeat. For instance, after the defeat against Manchester United, I think we deserved much more. We lost the game, but when we lose this type of game, you have to learn a lot and try to improve. And on the mentality aspect, to understand there are games where you have to be strong, you have to be a killer, because in that game we had the possibility to kill in a sporting way our opponent, and instead we lost the game. So, do we have the right characters in this squad for this approach? Well, the whole team can improve in this aspect, he replied. The players in the environment have to understand there's a difference between a win and a defeat. When you win, the atmosphere around you is happy. You enjoy coming here to your training session to stay with your teammates, with your staff, with your coach. When you lose, you have to know the atmosphere has to be a bit less happy. I think you have to earn a good atmosphere around you, and there is only one way to win. And that is the only way. The ruthless winner's attitude is what has taken Conte to huge success as a player and a manager. He's setting really high standards for the Spurs players to reach for. He said, "We know very well to finish fourth is not simple, it's not easy, but I wanted my players to have this ambition, to have this target, because now we have improved a lot. You know that football is strange and anything can happen, but in this moment, I think we're ready to fight every game and have a good possibility to get 3 points. Then we'll see what position we're going to finish this season." And you know, anything can happen in football. Really strange things have happened. We've seen Leicester win a league title. West Ham supporters will agree about that because they had a very good season last season. They were in the Europa League, which they had a remarkable last 16 win over Sevilla last night, if any of you watched it. But massive effort for them. They had to play 120 minutes, so that could affect them in two ways. But he was speaking about that. My reaction to West Ham's game was our game will be very difficult. If West Ham can beat Sevilla, who are second in Spain, it means the level of this league is very, very high. It also means the level that West Ham are now at is very, very high. That would have taken a lot out of them. He then said, "But now we are more complete and ready to fight until the end to try and reach an important target. It won't be easy. There are many, many teams with the same ambitions. But if we want to improve, if we want to start to put pressure on ourselves, it's the right time to have ambition and put ambition on ourselves." At the end of the day, there's two ways of looking at the West Ham game. Yes, it's a good thing that they had to play 120 minutes. There's going to be some tired legs going into the game against us, not necessarily from the off, but they will wither as the game goes on, which could play into our favour with the fitness levels of some of our players. And then on the flip side, you've got the fact that it was a massive win for them, not only in the competition, but in their history. European football is something that they've wanted for such a long time. They've got it. They're putting a marker down. And against a team like Sevilla, they're a very good team. We know they are. We've seen them do well in European competition over the years. They're doing well in the league in Spain this year, which is a very strange year in Spanish football. So that will no doubt give them a boost. And we've just got to hope that the fitness levels drain more than the boost and buzz from Thursday night is going to have. It'll be interesting. It's going to be a very hard game. Obviously, some of West Ham's players that weren't perhaps at their best earlier in the season are now starting to come into their stride. Seeing Yarmolenko's obviously playing very well. Souček's now finding his feet. So I don't know what to expect from this game. It's going to be expect it to be a very, very difficult game. I mean, the luxury is that it's a home game. Very much that is on our side. Fans going to have to get right behind it. But yeah, let's move on and talk about some other things now. So we're nearly 10 minutes in. So I'll just spend some time talking about a couple of other key little bits that I've noticed this season. And I'm going to start with this one, an unpopular opinion about our unsung hero this season. And that comes in the form of Ben Davies. Now, I know there's going to be some of you sitting there watching me say that name and think, he's not good enough for our club, yada, yada, yada. Now, let's put it in this way. He came into the club. He's been a favourite in some capacity of every manager that we've had that he has played under. There's got to be a reason for that. It's not just going to be because he's a nice guy, because I'm pretty sure we all know he is. He's intelligent, he's a nice guy, and he does, oh, hello, kicking the camera. He does a job and he's reliable. But let's talk about why he's an unsung hero. So, you know, he doesn't grab the headlines because he doesn't do things that are out of this world. Kane gets the headlines, and in the last game against Brighton, he broke a record, so therefore he got the attention, even from myself. You know, Kane very much got a lot of attention. Bentancur got a lot of attention for his performance. Eric Dyer has had a lot of attention because he's come into the back line and kind of steadied the ship a little bit. But, you know, this guy, he's, you know, the foundations of a victory are built at the back. You're only as good as the defence. If the defence stop goals from going in and the goalkeeper and the strikers put the ball in the back of the net, you know, a striker can score you 6 goals in a game, but if your defence is rubbish and you concede 7, you've lost the game. So yeah, foundation is built from the back. So Brighton, when they played us, they had no shots on target. And that's down to the work of the defence and the midfield. Davies just gets on with his job, with no fuss, but with maximum efficiency. Not something he's had over the previous years because he's had to play a lot of left back or left wing back, not his favoured role. Now he's playing his favoured role, that left-sided centre-back in a back 3. It works really well for him. So in the game against Brighton, he made 2 crucial tackles. One was a last-gasp tackle in the Spurs penalty area. He made 1 key interception, 4 clearances. He won 5 aerial duels, which was more than any player across the pitch apart from one of the Brighton defenders. Can't remember which one it was. And obviously they were up against it more than we were. He is the smallest player in the back 3 and still managed to win the most aerial duels on the pitch. He also had a shot on target. He had a shot on goal. Conte has started Davies in all but 1 Premier League game this season, and he's played a lot of the cup games as well. Mourinho was also a big fan of Davies. He compared him to Azpilicueta from when Jose was there as manager. He said a few things, but I'll summarise it. He's got personality and he plays with the ball. He shows great solidity, plays well defensively. He's always really focused. He's a good person, good guy. And, you know, there's got to be a reason why. Pochettino liked him as well. Nuno liked him. Every manager that has come into Spurs has liked him. So there's obviously something we're missing. I mean, obviously, he's played a lot as a left-back for us, which we know now was not his best position. Chris Coleman has always come out and said it, his former Wales manager, that he is the best at the back on the left of a 3. So maybe it is the time to credit him. Players like Davies go under the radar because they go about their job and they play well, but they don't do anything incredible. He goes along, he tidies up, does things. He doesn't make many big errors when he's playing in the back 3. But the problem is with players like him, because they never stand out and do anything. They don't take a game by the scruff of the neck or anything like that. He might make a couple of important blocks in a game. He might make a run. He might link up with somebody. He might have like a shot. But when things go wrong, players like Davies are very quick to be made a scapegoat. I've seen over the last few years Davies heavily criticised as, you know, not good enough, a liability. Eric Dyer has come under a lot of scrutiny, but it just goes to show that we had a lot of players playing in the wrong positions, playing in a system that doesn't suit them. So maybe it's time to get off Ben Davies' back and just credit him as the unsung hero of our Tottenham team this season. Let me know below in the comments what you actually think. I know there's going to be people out there that disagree. I know people that just can't stand him, and the second he makes a mistake, they can't wait to jump on his back. But it'll be interesting to see what people think this season as to how he's been. Now we're seeing him in a different position for us. Now, moving on to something that Lloris has spoken about, and it was about the amount of goals we're scoring and chances we're creating. Lloris has said it's the repetition that is key to Tottenham's newfound chances and scoring capabilities. We struggled under Nuno to be creative. We all know that. Some games we had no shots on target at all. We actually went a few games in a row without any shots on target, which was really worrying considering we got Sonny, Kane, Moura. At the time we had Eric Lamela. All these attacking players. But We scored 5 against Everton. We scored 4 away at Leeds, 3 away at Man City, 2 at Old Trafford. We've had 3 clean sheets in 4 Premier League games now, because the defence is becoming more stable, where he's just picked a group of players, now they're playing well, and gone with them. And I am including the likes of Sessegnon when he was fit, and Doherty. Stability is key with a defence. A keeper always prefers to know that the defenders in front of them are stable and regular, because you know what they're going to do all the time, you know what to expect from them. So, yeah, repetition is key to this. Nuno is drilling them in a certain way. They keep going over the same things again and again and again. They're obviously playing the ball the same way in training a lot, and those repetitive exercises are drilling into their heads, which is telling them exactly what they need to do. So Kane always knows where to go. He knows when to drop deep. He knows when to sit on the last man. You'll notice we get the ball out a lot to the wing backs, and their role is to either drive on and hit a low cross, or they get their head up and look for the early ball for a player like Sonny running into space. So there now is an identity. There is a way of moving. There is consistency, and these are key elements. Now let's move on to what my last point is going to be, and it's talking about the new boys. So not often do January signings come in and have such an instant success. It normally takes, especially when they come from a foreign league. Premier League, it's faster, stronger, you know, you need more time to adapt to it. Not Bentancur, not Kulusevski. They've come in, Bentancur, 24 years old, he's got over 200 appearances. Like, he's played a lot of football at a high level in his young age. And you can see that on the pitch. He's really, really mature. He creates time for himself when he's on the ball. He's a good passer most of the time. He can receive the ball in tight spaces, and he's able to know exactly what to do with it when he's under pressure. He has the odd misplaced pass, but that's just, you know, his game, because he likes to move the ball forward. And, you know, he helps move things on quickly for the counter-attacks. He got a lovely assist for Harry Kane against Brighton. You know, I'm thinking he's a bargain at 15.86 million, which we don't even have to pay now. We're paying it over the next 3 financial years. It'll go up by another 5 million if he meets certain criteria, which I'm sure he will, because, you know, a fit Bentancur, you can't not have him in the starting lineup, especially at the moment when Skippy is out. Makes all the difference. So I'm really happy with him. Now let's look at Kulusevski. 8.3 million loan fee. Now that is to cover the rest of this season and next season. And the way that's structured, 2.5 million from January till the end of the season, and then 5.8 million for next season. We have an obligation to buy of 29.2 million if certain criteria are hit, which is basically if he plays a certain amount of starts, a certain amount of games for Spurs, which he may even well do this season. Now, if he doesn't do that this season, we've got him on loan for 1 more season to take a look at him. However, we have the option to just buy him this summer. And if we buy him this summer, I think we save ourselves 4 point something million. And the way he's been playing so far, I would just take it. Just make him our player this summer. Don't wait at all. So let's just look at it. He's played he's started 6 Premier League games so far since he's been with us. 4 assists, 2 goals in those 6 games. So there you go. There's a goal contribution every single game for a 21-year-old that has come into the Premier League. Yes, he's had good experience at Parma and Juventus. Like, he's got the pedigree. He obviously had less game time at Juventus recently, which is probably why he was happy to move on. But, you know, he's hit the ground running. He's built for the Premier League. We've said it many times. He's in good shape. He's strong. Tactically, he's very good. He works hard for the team, creates himself space. He likes to cut inside on that left foot. He's not afraid to have a shot. He does a lot. I really like him. Yeah. So if you look at it as well, Kulusevski is actually our second most creative player alongside Kane. Now, I mean, you could argue Sonny is, but he's obviously played more this season. He was here from the beginning of the season. But since Kulusevski has come in, he's been our second most creative player. Conte also speaking about these 2 signings now, we are more complete. And what he means by that is, since they've come in, our starting lineup is more complete. Obviously, the squad is not more complete, and he's made that clear several times because of the people that we let go and didn't bring in enough players to replace them. But our starting lineup and the way we can now play with these players makes us a more complete unit. Very happy with it. And you could even add one more of Juventus players in the form of Christian Romero. Obviously, we're taking him from Atalanta, but he's had a spell at Juventus. So it just goes to show that the recruitment at Juventus has been very good. Certainly for us. They certainly signed the sort of player that would play well for Spurs. And this is the hard balancing act in the Premier League. You not only got to find a talented player, but they have to be the right mould. They have to be physically strong. They have to be able to play the game at a fast tempo. They have to be reasonably quick themselves because of the demand. Their fitness levels have to be ridiculous. It's the hardest league to play in the world. There is no doubt about it. How many other leagues do you see in world football where you can have a whole array of teams, not just fighting for the title, but for the top four? You know, you've got anything from third all the way down to ninth, 10th at any one time now that can battle for the top four, top six. You've got a relegation scrap going on where there's like 5 or 6 teams in that. And that's pretty much every season. But on their day, any team in this league can beat any team in this league. You've only got to look to Norwich having a dreadful season, but still managed to get a result against the likes of Manchester City, which most teams struggle. Not us, however. So look, you know, it's personality as well. Are they going to be homesick? The language barrier. There's so much to think about when you're bringing players into the Premier League that aren't English players. And I think with these two, we got it absolutely spot on. So, you know, congratulations to Paratici and Conte as well, with whatever part he played in that. Like, thank you to Daniel Levy for actually listening for once and getting these players. And hopefully the proof is in the pudding now. And Daniel Levy will loosen the purse strings a little bit in the summer and go, do you know what? These guys did make a difference. You've obviously got an eye for it. So let's back you. Time to back you in the market properly. But look, massive, massive game on Sunday against West Ham. Can't stress it enough. Could be an absolute turning point in our season, and it will put the pressure on Arsenal if we get another result. Obviously, Wolves were another team that are in and around it at the moment. They slipped up tonight, slipping to a 3-2 loss to Leeds. You know, the Leeds have had a very strange season compared to last season, but they're still able to pull out a result every now and again, and that has massively helped us as well. So maybe this is it. Maybe this is the moment in our season where things click, everything turns and starts to come in our favour. We put pressure on the Arsenal, and when that game is rearranged, you know, all we've got to do, we beat West Ham, we've got to beat them, and all of a sudden everything looks very different. I was looking at a post earlier that somebody put in one of the Facebook groups, and he looked at the remaining games Arsenal have and the remaining games we have, and tried not to be biased. Obviously, it's hard to not be biased as a Tottenham fan, and he reckoned that from the remaining games, they would probably only get something like 14 points, and we would get 21 or whatever, and it basically came out that we would finish above them. And when I started looking through that list, I thought to myself, do you know what? We have still got some tricky teams in there. There are some tricky games. But then when I looked at Arsenal's fixtures, I thought to myself, do you know what? There are more games in there that I think they will slip up on. I mean, we've still got to play Liverpool, which, you know, is pretty much a free hit because they're battling for that top spot in the Premier League this season. So I fully expect that to be a loss or a draw, best case scenario, if we're being realistic. But the games we've got left, I think there's a lot in there that are very winnable if we can just get this second win on the bounce under our belt. And that will breed some sort of confidence, break the hoodoo. But we will see. That's it for tonight. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, don't forget to support it with a thumbs up. Make sure you leave your comments below. Pivotal point in the season. So, you know, everyone's comments are very much welcome. And as I said at the beginning, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel to help this grow. Push it out to Tottenham fans out there. We've slowed down a little bit. But yeah, thanks for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it. And until tomorrow, come on you Spurs.